I was in the midst of my decluttering series. I recently decluttered my first drawer, and I wanted to show you guys that my second drawer is mainly single shadows. I don't want to do my second drawer today, but I do want to do this drawer today. I want to give you a little quick overview of what we're looking at. In this drawer, we have liquid highlighters, liquid bronzers, highlighters in general. These are blushes and liquid blushes, both liquid and powder bronzers. These are all my Westman Atelier blushes, some more liquid blushes, and this is a Chantecaille collection that I absolutely love. Now I want to start decluttering this because even though it fits all in one drawer, all my bronzers, all my blushes, all my highlighters, it is a little bit like, what am I looking at, right? So this is the before. And let me put everything on the table and let's start decluttering. Okay guys, so let's first start at the back of the drawer. The back of the drawer has some of my cream blushes and this Chantecaille collection. Now this Chantecaille collection is my favorite collection. I keep it together. When I have a beautiful vanity, I love having this as a vanity piece. I also like the products in this collection. And to be honest, I don't think I'll ever declutter this, even if it goes, if it expires. I just really like this collection, just its packaging, its experience. It was just a truly magical collection in my humble opinion. These are also pieces that work really well. So all of the pieces that came out in this collection worked really well. You have this really beautiful highlighter that I actually do use. So you see a little bit of the bird embossing, but I do use this highlighter and it's so stunning. I promise I'm not going to swatch everything, but this highlighter is truly the bomb because it has this really soft gel-like texture, but it has it's the only highlighter I have that has a little bit of a lavender touch to it. This is the single shadow. It's a duochrome, so sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's pink. Very beautiful, great formulation. Probably one of my favorite formulations from Chantecaille, the brand, in terms of eyeshadows. And lastly, this is one of my favorite blushes from Chantecaille. It doesn't translate this pink. I know that this pink is currently all up in everybody's business. People love this type of true pink color. A blush topper, a blush on its own, a highlighter and a blush together. It's so beautiful. I absolutely adore this blush. This will never be decluttered. This is basically my makeup archives. I don't want to keep a makeup archives, but if I had one, then this will definitely be in there. Next, we have my Westman Atelier blushes, my Rare Beauty, my Victoria Beckham Beauty. So let me just display it out for you guys and let's talk about what I'm gonna keep. These are all my Westman Ateliers. I have one blush stick from Violette FR. I have one of these Le Beige liquid blushes by Chanel. I have two of these Rare Beauty Soft Pinch blushes, a Rare Beauty Stay Vulnerable blush, and my Victoria Beckham Beauty. I actually, okay, so this is the problem in me. I actually think it's decent looking, but I have so many other blushes that I'm not showing you right now. And altogether, I don't get through all of my blushes. I don't get through all of my Westman Atelier blushes, for example. My Westman Atelier blushes are holy to me. It's one of my best performing videos, but there are a few blushes that I use and a few blushes that I don't. Last declutter that I did, I even mentioned that I love these blushes, but some don't get used and I want someone to get some use out of them. So let's first talk about this blush. This is the blush in the shade Mimi. Love this blush. It's my favorite one of the entire collection. It's currently available on the website. It's a website exclusive in the original packaging. So this packaging, this was the limited edition packaging. 100% I'm keeping. Then we have the shade Minette. Minette is not a shade that I use often. If I can be completely honest, I think I've used it a handful of times in total. And this is one of the blushes that I definitely feel that someone could benefit from this blush. Someone could love it and not let it go expired. Part of me wants to keep all the blushes in my collection for, future launches of Westman Atelier. And at the same time, I'm also kind of yeah, but I'm keeping these around. They're gonna expire and at some point I have to repurchase them anyway. So I'm gonna try to let this one go. I'm scared that I'm gonna regret it in the future, but Here's the thing, I could always repurchase makeup. I need to learn how to not buy the entire collection and be a maximalist about it, because some of these blushes do not get used. Minette is not getting used and it's gonna go. Oh, painful. Okay, this is the shade Doo Doo. This is a beautiful shade, by the way. I love this shade, but another one that handful of times I've used this. I think if you're a deeper skin tone than mine, you'll probably really like this. And I think that if you like cooler tones, you probably really like this. It's a beautiful blush. It's a favorite amongst you guys, so part of me wants to keep it for that entire reason. But again, I don't get enough use out of this, so I'm gonna declutter this. Hurts me. Then we have the shade Chouchette. This is one of my favorite ones of the bunch. I hope I'm in frame and you guys can see me. This is very much like Mimi, but then a little bit more peach toned. Mimi is more beige toned. This is one of the ones that I use in rotation, so I'm definitely keeping that one. So there we have two blushes, decluttered two blushes that can stay. This one is a favorite amongst many of you guys. This is Poppet or Popettes. Beautiful pink. Now I've already kind of disclosed that I'm not really into these colors. Again, less than a handful of times I've used this. This is not my vibe. My cheeks are naturally very red, very pink. Warm tones look better on me, so I am going to declutter this because I feel like there's someone out there that would love to have this shade. The shade Petal kind of goes in tandem with Chouchette and Mimi. I like this shade. If I'm gonna go for pink in this formulation, then I'll probably go for Petal. So I'm keeping this one. I'm kind of keeping it consistent. And lastly, the shade Bichette. Probably the one I've used the most, as you can tell. I don't have much left. I do feel like it's nearing its expiring date. But so far, I'm keeping it. This is kind of like my go-to autumn shade. This is a autumn shade through and through. It's the deepest one out of all of them. So far I'm keeping, but probably will be decluttered next time around. Now this is a highlighter. It's currently available. It used to be limited edition. This highlighter is in like La Perla. What is this? Little highlight stick in Parla. Parla means pearl in, I believe, Swedish. And I've tried to love this. I've tried to, you know, I'm not a stick highlighter person. The packaging is beautiful. I have something similar by Victoria Beckham Beauty. Now, Victoria Beckham Beauty is a brand that does much better on my channel. These two, so Parla and the highlight stick by Victoria Beckham Beauty, are basically the same. Seriously, I've done a video on these two. They give a very similar finish. Both of them have that kind of gel-like texture. Both of them kind of work similarly. Both of them have the same problems. I don't need both. Since Victoria Beckham Beauty is one of the brands that you guys love seeing on my channel, I want to say Westman Atelier is as well, but Victoria Beckham Beauty is kind of like that girl to me. I'm keeping the Victoria Beckham Beauty one, and I think I'm going to declutter this one. If we're going to talk Victoria Beckham Beauty, I want to tell you guys that I'm going to keep both of my Victoria Beckham Beauty blushes. Part of me wants to get more, but like I showed you guys now, I have a problem with blushes. I love blushes. And so far, I've been enjoying both of these, Fever and Playground. These two have served me so well. I might want to get Mini Skirt is the one that I'm kind of eyeing. I'm doing pretty well with my Victoria Beckham Beauty blushes and not trying to get the entire collection. So I'm keeping all of my Victoria Beckham Beauty. Another one that I'm keeping is this Violette FR Bisou blush. I have mine in the shade Louise. This is very much like Mimi from Westman Atelier, except much softer. So this one, it's just the pigment, if you put it on your cheeks, it's just very faint. If you like a very feminine, soft blush that you can barely tell it's there, but it just looks really natural, I think you'll really like this. I have a demo on my channel regarding this blush, so check it out if you're interested in the Violette FR range, because not a lot of people have reviewed these blushes, and I actually think that my blush is stunning. I reached for it more than you can imagine. You know, the odd thing about makeup is sometimes you think you're not gonna like something, and in the end it's probably gonna be like one of your most used ones, and that's kind of this blush to me, because it's just so easy to use, mistake proof, and I love I love reaching for it. It kind of goes with a lot of my makeup looks, and it stays on all day, at least till this pigment. So you can build it up a little bit more, but it's nice for kind of that French girl style. Okay, then let's go Chanel. This Chanel blush is the Le Beige blush in the shade Warm Pink. Stunning formulation. It's a little finicky, but I love the Le Beige collection, especially when it comes to these water fresh tints, blushes, anything. I love actually using them all together and making a kind of a Le Beige face. This is a beautiful blush. I'm keeping it. I don't have that many Chanel blushes that can stand behind, but this is definitely one of them. Rare Beauty blushes. Virtue is new, so I'm keeping for sure. I also love to have this mini. I usually take this one traveling with me. It's also kind of like that perfect, you know, pillow talk-esque shade. It just looks good with many of my looks, so I'm keeping it, and this will last me forever. You don't need to have a full size of these. Now this Rare Beauty blush, this is in the shade Nearly Neutral from the Stay Vulnerable collection. It's a bit older and I don't really reach for it. Now I panned it, so you do see a little bit of pan there. And I do like the packaging. I just feel like maybe it's time for me to declutter this. Because I do review a ton of Rare Beauty, part of me feels kind of like antsy to keep onto all my Rare Beauty stuff, but I recently decluttered and threw away my Rare Beauty concealer, and I think I'm ready to say bye to this one. There's no point in me having this. Then these two kind of all face blushes by Low Care. I keep these because I like supporting Dutch brands. So this is a Dutch brand that's clean and just really into sustainability. I love these bamboo lids that they have and these glass pots. The shade Joe is my favorite, and I do reach for it on a very summery day. I don't reach for them a ton, but I like having them around in my collection and referring to them if I ever want to do a face of like all Dutch brands, for example. I don't know. Part of me just, I feel like I should just keep these, even if it's just for the packaging. So this is what we're left with. I don't know what to do with these two, but so far, the magnets in these absolutely drive me bonkers. But this looks so much better, guys, because it used to be stacked up. Now it's all laid flat and I can see everything. So I'm very, very happy with this. I'm gonna put this on the side and let's take out the second tray. Okay, so this is the second tray, and I also pulled out this little thing here. These are all my blushes, like liquid blushes. Then we have some cream blushes over here and powder blushes and all of my bronzers. So this little section over here, these are all of my bronzers. Again, it's just a little bit too much. For one face, it's a little bit too much. And we're not even done with the drawer after this. So you can imagine with all the cream blushes and these liquid blushes and these blushes and all of these other like face products, I just have too much. So let's take some of this out and let's lay it down flat. Holy moly, it doesn't even fit in the frame. I have to double layer it. Laid out together like this, I'm kind of appalled. Like I'm a little bit kind of overwhelmed. Now I understand why I want to do this declutter, because this is not okay. There's no person that gets through all of this. Some of this, I admit, I probably keep around for comparison's sake, but some of this is just, it's got to go. Where do I start? Should I separate the blushes with the bronzers? Okay, let's put the bronzers to the side and let's talk about this section over here. Right here. I know it's a mess, but we'll get through this. And since we just did cream blushes, I feel the need to talk a little bit more about cream blushes. One you don't see, but I just grabbed from the drawer. This is a Dew Wet Balm by Danessa Myricks in Sweetwater. It's a beautiful formula. I do really like this. Unfortunately, I just never reached for it. It just never got incorporated into my makeup routine. I forget about it sometimes, and forgetting about makeup is kind of what I want to avoid. I think someone will be super happy trying this out, so I am going to declutter this. Danessa Myricks is not a highly featured product or a brand on my channel, not because I'm not interested in the brand, not because I don't like this. I have a dedicated video on this. I think it's stunning. I just, unfortunately, I don't know how to incorporate it. Also, it looks exactly like my Tower 28 blush. Don't you guys think so? I don't need both. So this is the one that's gonna go. For that reason, I am gonna keep my Tower 28 blush. A blush formulation that I like, but there's not a lot of use for it in my collection. I think I'm almost hitting pan though, but this is the shade Heliotrope by Rose Inc. It says Azalea, but I bought Heliotrope as a refill. I still love this blush formulation. I like this packaging. I love this toilet seat packaging. It makes me laugh every single time, so I am keeping this. What other liquid blushes or cream blushes do I have? I think those were, oh wait, this one by Charlotte Tilbury. Now I'm on the fence with this one because I do really like this. I don't think I could gift this anymore to anyone. I don't know, how old is this? Maybe a year old? I don't know. I still really like this. Every time I use this, I'm like, actually, this was kind of fun. I also think it's very like Instagrammable pretty. I'm on the fence with this one. I don't feel like the need to declutter just to declutter. So I think I'm gonna keep this. And if I don't use it by next time I do a declutter, then this is gonna go. My Westman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlight Stick, highlights, they're not really blushes, they're highlights, but they're not really highlights either, they're more like blushes. But these are the Westman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlights. I got shade Peau de Pêche and Peau de Santé. I'd love to have all of them, and I love these. This is probably still my most recommended or top 3 recommended products to buy from Westman Atelier. They're heavy, they're loaded, and I love the shades that I picked, so I'm keeping these for sure. These are my powder blushes. Let's look at my cream blushes. So I have all of these blushes by Vive. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not sold on this formulation. It's not the worst blush I've ever tried. I bought all 4 for a review, also because I actually thought I was gonna love these. Complexion products by Vive are actually really good. I don't love them. They're okay, but they're a bit finicky. They don't really go well with a lot of my complexion products. Like, it doesn't play nice with some of the products that I have as a base. So it tends to take off the foundation underneath if I don't use the proper foundation nor the proper method. If I don't use the proper brushes, it could take off the foundation. If you have one of these, you have the same problem, my recommendation is think about having more a mattifying foundation, so something that kind of sets down, nothing too wet. And use your synthetic brushes with these. Natural hair brushes do not like to be used with these. It's just too jelly, too liquidy. Yeah, I don't really reach for these because I'm not over the moon by them, but by no means do I think it's the worst blush I've ever tried. I don't want to like, I don't want to mess up the brand and what they're trying to do here. I think if you're a non-foundation wearer, these actually look beautiful on the skin. But I might just keep one for reference sake, and if I want to talk about Vive as a whole. The one that is best for me to keep is this one. The shade Rosa is the one that I like the most, and I think I'm going to declutter these 3. And then these are my Charlotte Tilbury ones, and this is a local brand from the Hema. This is like a drugstore option for, it's like basically a dupe for these Charlotte Tilbury ones. It's literally, this shade is the same as this shade, the Pillow Talk shade, and the Hema one in the shade, I think it's called Rose Gold. These are exactly the same, and this is like a few euros. So if you are from Europe and you know what a Hema is, because it's a Dutch brand, but I know they have it in like Belgium, I think, and in Germany, and you want to have a cheaper version of the Pillow Talk, or you just want to try the Pillow Talk shade by Charlotte Tilbury, check out this one in the shade Rose Gold. You know what? Since we're here, might as well show you. Yeah, it has a different applicator. It's a more sanitary applicator, but the shelf life is also different because the shelf life on this is 6 months, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury one has a shelf life, I believe, of 12 months. Yeah. Like I said, these two, they look very similar. I think the Charlotte Tilbury one is more flattering on me, personally. But if you want to just check out the shades, very similar. I'm keeping both because why not? I love these blushes by Charlotte Tilbury as well. I love both of them, love both the colors. I wish I kept all 4 because 2 of them I sent back because I was just too late with my review. But I wish I kept all of them. Those were my liquid blushes. Let's go on to my powder blushes. Personally, I think I'm doing okay with the powder blushes and the amount that I have. My Suku blushes unfortunately look like ass, so let me just clean it for you. So you guys don't think I'm a dirty little monkey. But I have 2 Suku blushes. These are the melting powder blushes. I love these. They're going to be discontinued. This formulation is going to be discontinued. I have 08, which is this one. It's this kind of terracotta bricky shade. Very beautiful. And my favorite one is this one. If you can get this one, this is 09. Oh, this is basically Mimi by Westman Atelier, but then in a powder, melting powder form. The only thing I don't like about them is that they're magnetic, so they tend to want to stick to each other. So if you kind of stack them all together, sometimes it can be a little bit of a, it can be a little finicky. But I'm keeping both 100%. Then I have one of these RMS blushes. Still love this. Still very much into it. This is Maiden's Blush, it's called. Keeping for sure. And of course, for sure, keeping these 2 Gucci blushes. Would love to own more, but again, I have so many blushes. The shade Rosy Beige is the one that I go for all the time. Rosy Beige, you know, that type of nude pink shade, wake me up for anyone that launches these type of shades. I also love the packaging on these. They're refillable. It's just really nice to have. Then one of these is a blush, one of these is a bronzer, but I'm keeping both. This is the blush. This is Divine Rose 2. It has a bit of a sheen to it, so you can kind of see that when I flip it. Beautiful. I'm definitely starting to, you know, mess up the embossing a little bit. And this is the new bronzer. Also, the embossing is slowly fading. Love both. I have mine in the shade Nude Honey. Keeping both. All right, bronzer time. This is an issue. Bronzers is an issue for me. So, something I'm gonna keep is this one by Charlotte Tilbury. This is one of my favorite bronzers of all time. I love the packaging. I love the bronzer formulation. I love the fact that you got 2 colors and it's refillable. So what's not to love? Keeping, 100% keeping. Another bronzer I'm keeping. This is a more yellow tone bronzer for those of you that are looking for it, but this is the blonde bronzer by La Bouge Rouge. It also comes in this cute little upselled leather case. This is also refillable and it's a very sustainable brand. It's looking at like local resourcing, clean beauty, sustainability, upselling, you name it. They're really trying to be a pioneer in doing well in the luxury market. I think all of this is like Hermes upsell leather. Anyway, I am keeping this. I love this bronzer. I don't think I'm gonna declutter a lot, so bear with me because I'm also not going to declutter this one. This is, of course, the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. It goes well with all of my other wands. So I am keeping that. My Westman Atelier, this is my favorite contour stick of all time. Now, I am going to declutter this basically because I have nothing left. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel really with everything that I got. I need to buy a new one, but I think I want to do it at the end of the year, maybe for a Black Friday sale, because I have so much to go through anyway. So I'm keeping the bottom of this purely for shade references for future videos, but I'm ready to declutter this. I'm gonna put this in my empties pile, but I'm gonna put it for right now in the declutter bin. The Big Daddies. The Chanel, this is not a bronzer, but it is. It's called a Healthy Glow Powder, Sun-Kissed Powder, anyway, in the shade medium. It's a limited edition bronzer, also by the Le Beige collection. I'm wearing this today. Still really love this. I love this shade. In the summertime, this sings on me. It also has a little bit of a sheen to it. Still very beautiful. Chanel smell, Chanel everything. I love these bigger products, but it does get a little bit too big for my collection. But I'm keeping it still. Another one I'm keeping is this one by Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Cream Shadow, the Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer. I have mine in shade medium. Still love this. I'll be honest, I don't reach for it too much. I like reaching for sticks because it's just easier to use, easier to travel with. But if I want to do a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, this always gets a really good rating. I have 2 Rare Beauty bronzers, keeping both. I have demoed both of them in my last Sephora recommendation video, so if you want to check that one out. So I have one of the newer shades, which is more of a neutral tone, and I have Happy Soul. They're kind of getting dirty. Don't worry, I'm going to clean everything today because I like to have a clean collection. I have two Makeup by Mario bronzers. I don't know what to call these. It's like the enhancer, soft sculpt enhancer and soft sculpt perfector. I clearly love one more than the other. This one is the enhancer. This is a stunning, amazing formulation. I'm 100% keeping this one. I'll be honest, I wanted to love this one, but I don't. And I think I'm ready to say bye to it. It's just incredibly inconsistent on my skin. Sometimes it looks amazing. Sometimes I look like ass, like a powdery donut. I don't know why I can't. It's just not consistent. So yeah, that's the final word. I'm going to declutter this. Of course, my Westman Atelier Beauty Butter Bronzer I'm keeping. The embossing is completely gone. It's getting a little older now, but I'm 100% keeping this one. Oh, Jesus. I have two of these Tower 28 bronzers, and one of them I like, the newer one. The soft sculpt, no, is it called soft sculpt? Yeah, oh, Sculptino, sorry. The Sculptino in the shade Getty, I like more than the Bronzino. So technically one should be more of a sculpting product and the other one should be more of a bronzer. But the Bronzino is just way too reflective to me. It also pulls a little bit more red on me. I'm not really interested in this type of cream bronzer, so I'm ready to declutter this one. But I am keeping this one in the shade Getty. I like it more and more every time I use it. I actually thought it was just going to be kind of forgotten in my collection because in the beginning I was kind of mad about it, but I quite like it. Then I'm on the fence about this one. You guys seem to really enjoy this one. Every single time I open this one, I first get the stupid brush. Ugh, I hate the packaging on here. Also, what I hate is I don't actually like, let me show you guys with a Westman Atelier. This is a Westman Atelier blush stick, and you see the difference in size. This one is just a little bit more user-friendly in terms of like how big the product is. If you want to use this on the face, I don't like how big of a surface area this is. Let me see how much I have left. I have this much left. Oh, so I've used quite a bit. I think I'm gonna keep it, but I'm not in love with it. I think the formulation is decent. I think the packaging sucks ass. And I don't like the size of this. I don't like the size. I also think for a contour shade, I would like it to be a little bit more like Biscuit from Westman Atelier. It's just not my favorite contour shade, nor my favorite applicator. But I think I've used too much of this to gift it away or declutter it, so I'm gonna keep it. And let me show you guys what it looks like right now. So my little bucket with cream products right over here. And this is my bronzer blush collection that I just decluttered. It looks so much better, guys. It makes me very happy. These are my powder bronzers over here, some powder bronzers and cream bronzers over here. Of course, my powder blushes and some cream blushes as well. So before we move on, I did stumble upon one more blush that I'm going to declutter. This is the Tweed Blush by Chanel. I've tried this once and I absolutely hated it. I hated this formulation. This is one that I'm probably going to resell because I did try it only once. But I just don't think that this formulation is up to par with anything else that I have in my collection. But these are my highlighters. Let's mix them up between liquid highlighters and of course powder highlighters right here. So let's first talk about the liquid side. This is the Auric Glow Lust. I use this as a primer often. It's not in my primer drawer right now, but I think it's gonna be re-promoted to the primer drawer pretty soon. Once I get rid of some of my primers, I'm going to slowly take some of these products and put it in the top drawer again. I don't love this as I did when I first got it, but I still don't hate it enough for me to declutter it. I just think that currently the kind of glowy aesthetic that this gives, it's just not really for me at this moment. But I often go back to it, and when I use this, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how beautiful this was. Love this By Terry Brightening CC Serum. Will be promoted again to my primer drawer. I have used about 1/3 of this. This looks beautiful. I have the shade Nude Glow, by the way. The only reason I kind of demoted it is because right now I'm kind of into bronzy bases and not glowy bases, but I do miss this for my primer section. It does have a really rosy smell. I'm not really into this, so after I finish this one, I don't think I'll repurchase it, but I won't declutter it. One I will declutter is this one by ZC. They gifted this one to me, so this was PR. I never used it on camera. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful formulation. It's just, it doesn't do anything in my collection other than sit here. There's a little bit of dirt on here, sorry. I think someone else will really enjoy this. Another one that I won't declutter is the Lisa Eldridge one, the Seamless Skin in the shade Pink Moon. Love this formulation. It's a little less glittery than all the other ones. It's great as a primer or great as something to mix your foundation with to make it a little bit more glowy. I really like Lisa Eldridge as a brand, so I'm keeping this one. The Rare Beauty one is a nice shimmery, glowy base. I'm keeping that one as well. I have mine in the shade Mesmerize. And this mini by Charlotte Tilbury is a great one to have on hand because a lot of people do request for some type of comparison, and this one is just an easy one to have to compare to. I do like the formulation, but I'm not someone that always goes back to it. Lastly, I have another one of these highlighters from the Hema. This is the Champagne shade, so I'm keeping this one. It's not been opened yet, so it's closed. I'm keeping this one, but putting it with my highlighters. Then finally, I have this little mini highlighter from Vive. This is stunning. If you want a very natural champagne looking highlight and you want a liquid form, the Skin Dew, guys, is probably one of my favorite liquid highlighters of all time. I like it better than most of the highlighters that I just spoke about. So I'm gonna put this next to all my liquid blushes and highlighters. Powder highlighters. I don't use a lot of powder highlighters. I don't know why I ended up with so many. This one is by Chantecaille. I love this one. I don't know what to call this. Blush, highlighter, a bronzer. It's all in one. This is in the shade Ray. Also the name. Guys, this is my son's name, so anything with the shade name Ray probably is going to stay in my collection because it has some sort of hold on me. But this is probably one of my best Chantecaille products of all time. If you can still get your hands on this, because all these dang things are always limited edition, but if you can still get your hands on it, 100% would recommend. This is like a summertime shade through and through. Keeping. So these are some true highlighters. I have two Charlotte Tilbury, I have one La Bouche Rouge, one Rare Beauty, and one Chanel one. I don't think I'm going to declutter a lot. My favorite ones right now are these three. Guys, they're all freaking the same color. I don't know why I do this to myself. But I love a good champagne highlighter. I love these three. This Chanel one has the best finish of all time. This is like a luminous powder. Keeping 100%. If you didn't recognize it, that's the Rev de Camellia highlighter, but the embossing is completely gone because I've abused it. This is the La Bouche Rouge highlighter. Also, the embossing is completely gone. I also got mine engraved this time around, my little packet. This brand does not get enough love, and this highlighter definitely does not get enough love in my opinion. I have been really enjoying this newer highlighter by Rare Beauty, so I'm keeping that one as well. So I'm keeping 3 powder highlighters. These Charlotte Tilbury ones. This one is the Pillow Talk one. Unfortunately, mine has cracked. And this is the new Architect Face Glow highlighter. I'm not wowed by this. How am I supposed to apply anything when it rotates like a disc? So I'm not wowed by the packaging. I think the formulation is nice. I like that it doesn't contain any glitter, but packaging is a thing for me, guys. Same goes for the Makeup by Mario. Something can be a great formulation, but it can still not be used because it doesn't give me that like happiness from within. So, but right now, I think I'm going to declutter this Pillow Talk highlighter, and I'm gonna keep this one. This, guys, is what I'm decluttering. Blushes, highlighters, bronzers. I think that for my collection, this is a very decent declutter. Some of this I am so sad to see go. At the same time, I feel good about this declutter. Also, let me show you guys the after photo of what my collection looks like right now. So this is what my collection looks like right now. It doesn't look like it's much improvement, but I see it's a lot of improvement. There's some blank space at the back. I don't have too many highlighters, but enough highlighters to kind of show you guys some variation, some different brands. I like these liquid blushes to be up front. And I think my bronzer collection will always be one of the larger collections because I'm just, you know, a bronzer geek. But I'm happy. I'm definitely happy with how this looks like. Anyway, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. You guys are amazing if you watched it all the way till the end. I love a good declutter, and I hope you guys liked it too. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you saw any of these brands and you're like, oh, I love these brands, because these are the brands that I do follow. Comment down below if you have anything to note about this declutter, if you liked the brands that I kept or hated the brands that I kept and liked some of the products that I decluttered. I'd love to know. I'd love to know everything you have to say about this. Also, I will declutter my eyeshadows and my lipstick soon. I think I'm gonna do single shadows and lipstick next, and as the crescendo, I'll do face palettes and eyeshadows at the very last one. Anyway, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!